Good morning, October 12th. About 3 minutes early here. Let's do some sound checks. Move some screens around here. Daniel, good morning. Got to mute that. All right, we're good. Griffin, morning. Griffin short from 55. Right, he's short right at the point of control, like that. We're going to get started here right in 2 more minutes. Sounds like everybody could hear okay. I just have the NinjaTrader platform up. We have Terrence giving me the 5x5 from the Great Pacific Northwest. Good morning, Paul. Jay Doyle, good morning. John, hello. All right, we're getting a lot of folks popping in here now. It's awesome. Appreciate it. Thank you, everybody, for the morning greetings. It's Tuesday. Yesterday was Columbus Day. Today's the first full day. I'll explain what I mean by that in a couple minutes here. Griffin's looking good, short of 55. And we're going to start exactly on time here, guys, so hang tight. Hugo, good morning. Lewis, good morning. Okay, short Mez 21. Oh, A. I guess your name is A. All right, so A just popped in the comment. We'll call you Alpha for short. 63 and a half. Exit 52.73. You can't exit at 52.73. You mean 52.75 maybe? Shopping around all morning. Yeah, I hear you. All right, do we have a 10 o'clock go, no go here? East Coast time today, 10 o'clock almost. Morgan wants to know the basis for Griffin's trade. I'll let you guys interact a little bit. And we are officially ready to go. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to today's event. My name is Jim Cagnina, Senior Education and Training Specialist for the NinjaTrader platform. We are primarily focused on futures trading today. Futures and options on futures are not suitable for all traders and investors. Oftentimes in futures trading, traders are exposed to a large combination of leverage and volatility. And although that's an equation for opportunity, it's also an equation for risk. Only fund your futures trading account with risk capital. We understand everybody's unique in this world, but my personal definition of risk capital is money I could afford to lose, doesn't change my lifestyle, lengthen my retirement horizon, or overly anger Mrs. Cagnina. The last part seems tongue-in-cheek, but it's not. Stress in life matters. When we're under stress, we tend to make bad decisions. At least that's been in my experience. At least that's what happens to me personally. So any questions on risk, just type them into the box here and chat box. We can talk about it. I'm going to be using the NinjaTrader platform today. I'm logged into the software in simulated live mode with the real-time data feed. Thanks everybody for coming. And again, any questions on risk or leverage or day trade margins or any of that stuff, that's all related, let me know. Griffin says he's out 50, missed my target by 2 ticks. Dude, you don't LOL that. That's not an LOL. All right. Let's take a peek. So yesterday was Columbus Day. So the cash treasury market was closed. So that's what makes it a little weird, but everything else was open. So, whenever it's kind of like not really a holiday, but it's kind of an oddball day. So you got to be careful on oddball days. And we did have a big sell-off yesterday. Let's just take a look at the daily chart right now. A daily candle, it's all I'm looking at right now. I have a simple Fibonacci, high to low. I have a 50 period simple moving average, which is, daily moving average, 100 period and 150 period moving average. I'm just checking out, what's the bias today? What's the state of the market? Are we neutral? Are we bearish? Are we bullish? Well, we're right at the 100 SMA. It's like we're trying to hold our own. If you look at the Fibonacci retracement, we're still a little bit short of 38.2%, but the next step down, according to this, we've already kind of touched it once today, is, the 24s, 25s. So right now I'm slightly, I don't know that I could form am I looking for places to buy today? I'm looking for places to sell today. I have this old trend line here, which is probably no longer any good. I could probably even delete that by just clicking on it, right clicking and removing it. So takeaway here is, we're looking at anything could happen. Anything could happen today. We do have 1, 2 red bars kind of pulling down right here. We have sellers on these wicks that look pretty, kind of decent size wicks at the top of the candle on Friday, on Thursday, and then a Friday and Monday. So we'll keep an eye on that. But then again, we have big wicks at the bottom here too in the previous days. So we're kind of like battling between trying to find our space here, trying to find our footing, whether bias, bearish or bullish. So we're going to be open-minded today. Anyway, I'm going to be open-minded today. Take a look. Here's the board here. We're down 6 on the ES. 11 on the NASI, 67 on the YM. I mean, nothing too crazy yet. It's early. Currencies, taking a look at my currency screen here. Nothing crazy on the net changes here. Dollar's looking a little stronger across the board, with the exception of the Aussie, but pretty much pretty strong US dollar. Crude oil, killing it, 80, 81. Actually, you know what we could do? We should do. Let's just take a look at that daily chart here in the crude oil before we get into the 10-minute chart. I hit it accidentally. Where's it at? Where is it at? Well, let's just open this up here and let's just cheat. Just go CL, simple, easy with the NinjaTrader platform. Let's double click on it. Double click on it. And there we go. Oh, wow. Man, we're just like, I don't know, beware, crude oil traders, beware. This is a strong market, and just because we're at 80 doesn't mean we can't go to 90. Keep that in mind. So the trend is solidly strong. OPEC Plus already met last week. No Fibonacci in sight. And we'll see if what happens here, if we're going to start getting a retracement or not. So bear this in mind. This could drag on everything. This could drag on everything else that we do if crude oil keeps popping up here. Bonds, 30 years up a handle. It's a pretty decent amount, right? And 10-year up a little bit, which means yields are down. So we'll keep an eye on that stuff as well. We're going to blow off all the cryptos and all the other stuff. So let's take a look at the 10-minute chart right now. I'm missing all Griffin's insight here. David asks, do you ever have any opinions on prop firms? Nope. Griffin says, my first trade I've had worked really well today so far. Griffin responding to David says they want money to teach you to trade. Oh my goodness. And if they wouldn't, all right, I'm not getting involved in this whole prop trade conversation. I'm stepping away. Let's focus on some trade ideas here. 10-minute, let's kind of open this up all the way. As usual, I have a volume profile on the left with the point of control right now. At 55, we're south of the point of control. We're trading toward the bottom of the value area. It's a dark blue. CCI is minus 157, 155. I don't know if it's ticking up, going sideways or not, but let's just kind of keep an eye on that. Moving average crosses crossing under. So a little bit, we don't have a lot of indicators suggesting, hey, it's time to go long. However, we do have yesterday's low right here, which is ... red. Yesterday's close right here, which is ... purple. And those are areas of interest, along with the transition between the prices below value and the value area. So from a bullish point of view, I'm patient. I want to see a test of yesterday's low. I want to see maybe even a test of the bottom of the value area before I just kind of jump right in. Alternatively, now we're kind of pulling back up here. It's 10:07. Let's see what the next candle brings us before we jump in, if we jump in. From a short point of view, we have another point of interest, which is the point of control right here, along with the top of the value area. So those are areas of interest for shorts. In my humble opinion, let's just take a peek at the candles here, a little bit more detail. So we have a lower high, lower high, lower high. It's kind of bearish. Then we have a lower low, but then we have a higher low, right? So this was tracking kind of like an inside bar, the previous bar, but it was very much a doji with the body of the candle way at the bottom. I don't know if I'd call that a gravestone doji, but very possibly. And the name suggests exactly what it sounds like. So real quickly, how did I add my volume profile? I just went right-clicked and I went to indicators. And I popped up my indicator control panel, which has all this stuff on the left here. I have the order flow volume of the platform. And I selected order flow volume profile right here. I added it to the bottom, and then I selected it, and I'm able to customize it right now. And I'm not going to change any of the customization features, but each histogram bar is worth 4 ticks. That's important to note. You could make it worth 1 tick or 2 ticks. It's just how high the histogram bars are really, and it just tracks volume within those 4 ticks, 2 ticks, or 1 tick. All right. So Morgan asks, so Morgan, you can't, Griffin's on the YouTube channel. You're in the Zoom chat, so you might not be able to see each other's chat. I don't know if you can or not. So Adrian, yeah, so you got to get the order flow volume of the software, and then you're able to do this here, and you can get that from the website. And that's what we're looking at right now. So let's see what happens with this candle right here. This is looking really bearish right now. Not incredibly interested in going long right now. We got a lot of white space at the bottom here. I'm more inclined to say, hey, maybe we're going to have to look for a place to go short. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up my Fibonacci as my last piece of the puzzle, at least for now. And I'm going to undo it with my cross here so I could be a little bit more. So again, on the Fibonacci, I'm going to start from where the move started, which is down here. And I'm going to end for where the high of the move, right? So we started down low, we trended all the way up, we drove all the way up, right? We started way down here, 43.17. We shot all the way up to 43.65. And now we're kind of retracing back down. We're right at that 50% retracement line. And that's kind of these two levels are juicy, are interesting levels. I'm going to go ahead and just kind of tailor mine a little bit here. Simply, really quickly, I'm getting rid of the 76.4%. And I'm going to hit OK. And I'm going to apply an OK. Okay. So, 50% is aggressive number, right? This would be an aggressive place to go long. And it just so happens to correspond with the bottom of the value area. So for the longs, again, if I was, going to be patient, I probably want to be just kind of around that. And then I would go ahead and try to submit an order. If you wanted to be more aggressive, less aggressive, then you would bring this down closer to the 61.8. But we could be a little bit more aggressive today. Why not? So we'll throw that in there right there. So again, I'm looking for some sort of, confirmation on this retracement is going to stick. And if it sticks, then I definitely want to, we've identified some area support here, and then I want to get in. I'm going to draw a rectangle. I'll just draw a line. I think lines are F2. See if I remember that. So I'll just kind of draw a line right here. Yeah. Okay, so remember, I'm not drawing a rectangle because I don't want to clutter the chart up, but that, this area here where I drew my crooked line, see if I can make it straighter. Again, it's a little crooked, whatever, close enough. This line here just represents kind of an area, what I'm going to consider an area of support, right? So we had 1, 2, 3, 4 candles that closed above it. One of them touched it. And really the area is a rectangle, right? The area is several ticks around there because there's natural volatility here that's going to kind of kick things around. Okay, let's see. Ankle Boo Boo says dollar weak against gold too. Griffin can't see anything but YouTube. Yeah, they're two different things. You could log in either way. Sorry about that. Griffin said tried to get short at 50, but a bit slow getting the order in. So this is kind of a, if I'm looking at the candle wicks here, you could consider this kind of a mini baby counter trend trade, really, because we have lower highs all the way, and it's a little bit problematic here. The CCI is minus 191 now, 188. It's still it hasn't accelerated up or down since we started talking, but it's still not pretty. Moving average cross is diverging, so. Maybe even a more conservative, better trade idea is, hey, I want to go short right now, and I'm going to use that point of control, that 23.6%. I'm going to look for some sort of, I want to be patient. I want to, try to get involved if the market does get back up here again. And so the short trade idea in my mind is literally going to be wait for that 23.6 or a little bit lower than the 23.6, and it would look something like this. So that would be, if your opinion is, hey, this market's breaking down, I want to go short, I would be patient. I would wait to see if we can get up to that area again, and then go ahead and try to exploit that. Alternatively, again, we have a play on the lower side here to try to get long. We'll leave them both in. We'll see what happens. We'll see what's right. Griffin says, you know what you get when you try to pick bottoms? Yeah, but that's true. But I'm looking at this area here. I feel like there is 1, 2, 3, 4 candles worth. Remember, these are 10-minute candles. So 40 minutes worth, more or less, maybe 35 minutes worth, but over a half hour worth of support. Buyers are down here saying no, no, no. Now we keep closing at the lows here, so let's be a little bit patient. Instead of just going long right now, boom, I want to go long right now. I think hopefully we can get a price advantage if we're patient, and if we don't get filled, we don't get filled. That's okay. We could talk about other things. So Ashani, I apologize. Ashani, yeah. So here's my thought. On a 10-minute, we have an hour together, right? 9 to 10. And I want to look at a time frame which gives me information unique to that hour, right? We want to get in and out of a trade in that time period. Now, we might end up in a trade that's going to take us past that time frame, which is fine. But I got kind of a 6-to-1 rule, right? So I'm going to take my time frame, I'm going to multiply it by 6, and that's what my expected duration is. And that's just a weird thing that I made up in my head. I mean, this is just kind of based on, if I was doing a shorter term trade, maybe with bigger lot size, then maybe we would be looking at a 5-minute chart or less. You could do tick charts, you could do any kind of chart you want. You could have multiple charts side by side, or you could do what I kind of did down here on the bottom, and I kind of toggle back and forth. You can create a whole bunch of different charts, chart books all the way down, chart workspaces all the way down the line, or hold them side by side and look at multiple time frames at the same time. All right, so now we're getting close to that 23.6%. We'll see what happens here, and then we're going to have to do some figuring. All right, we're going to have to figure out. All right, there we go. We strongly went through that right now. CCI is kind of took a nice slope upward. It's taking a nice slope upward right now, which is a little problematic because we got to our 23.6% relatively quickly. So right now, always put a stop in. I'm going to put my stop up here for now, and we're going to contemplate it. I'm just going to put a buy stop as we make new highs here, and I want to think about where exactly do I want to eventually end with this stop. This stop, we're going to bring it down, but let's kind of see what happens with this particular candle right now as we're kind of moving around. My original buy target right here, entry level right now, is another thing that we have to think about. Is it reasonable to think we're going to get back down to the 50%? And yeah. Is it a little bit aggressive? Yeah. Is there a point when maybe I want to move it up and probably take advantage of the fact that we're 2 handles in right now? Yeah, but we're not there yet. So, David, I'll get to the top of book data in a second. Appreciate a great question though. Again, I'm chart trading right now. So this is a nice three handle move. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this back up to the 38.8. I'm going to move my stop down to break even plus a tick. And then we're going to manage the trade from here accordingly. See if we can get there. All right, so we got there. I'm going to cancel my stop. So far, so good. Big wick. A lot of sellers coming back in here. We were patient. We were able to take advantage of that drive up to 23.6. Buyers didn't have the momentum or couldn't sustain it any further. And then we kind of came back down where we started from, and maybe then some. Top of book. Oh, shoot. Did I do that right? Okay. So top of book data. Here's what top of book is. So I'm going to freeze the trading ladder, right? You see these bids 10 ticks deep and these offers 10 ticks up from the last traded price. That's 41.75. That is that's called depth of market, right? Level 2 depth of market view for this. If you just saw the bids, just the 24 and the 26, and no other numbers in the bid and offer column, that's top of book. And it doesn't affect your ability to trade at any given price on the price ladder at all. It just says, hey, you don't want all that extra data. It doesn't help you with your trading. It doesn't really help me either, to be honest with you, because it moves around so quickly, right? So it's your data fees are cheaper. That's all. That's an exchange thing. That's an exchange thing. Griffith got up to get a drink. You missed a lot, my friend. We did a little tiny trade. Things were looking up for us. So Tony, I'm using NinjaTrader right now, and I'm hiding it. So I have it. You can unhide it, or you could hide it, or you could turn it off. I prefer entering orders on the chart. Alternatively, if you want to enter orders on the trading ladder, you could easily do that also. You're just going to click on your price, and it's going to send the order to where you want to go. And there's other order management techniques here, but this is one way to do it. And then it'll show up in sync with the chart as well. So, okay, so let's see if we have a second trade idea here as we're getting closer to the, again, this area, this blue line here is I really feel like we're going to penetrate this blue line here in a second, maybe not in a second, but I think there's a possibility of doing that, which puts that 61.8% in play. If you really wanted to be super patient, and it would look something like this, and you'd have to have some sort of tight stop. But again, I'm just right clicking. Who asked that question? Tony. And then I'm selecting my orders. Let me show you again. I'll cancel this. I'm just right clicking. I got NinjaTrader on. I have the version of the software that lets me trade from the chart, and I'm gonna pick from up here: buy limit, market if touched, stop market, stop sell limit. I'm gonna just do the buy limit, right? And it's gonna send it, and that's how it goes. Remember, we're in simulated live mode right now, so I'm being kind of conservative right now for sure. Again, though, I'm looking between these 23.6 and the 61.8, and let's kind of line it up with the volume profile here. I'm really, really, really conservative here with respect to the volume profile. CCI is kind of ticking up now, minus 20, minus 130. That's a good sign. So maybe it's time to maybe try to get a little bit more aggressive here and move us up above my line, right? Just above my line a little bit. And alternatively, on the sell side, yes, point of control is right by that 23.6. I'm going to go ahead and throw an order right above it. This one's going to be a sell. These are limit orders. Limit orders are sent to the exchange on a first come, first serve basis. So you're in line behind these other contracts that you see in the order book, right? Now, we're more than 10 ticks deep, so you can't see it. But in this case here, if we were sending an order in at one of these levels, we'd be, in line, and we'd be 109 instead of 108, right? And then as the market traded at that price, we move up to the front of the line. Limit order, the definition is at your price or better. Jeff says 12 and 3/4 ticks in the MES. Griffin congratulates him, and I will as well. Awesome news. Okay, I don't know if hey, so Josh, I don't know if you're with me or Isabella or whoever is here helping monitor today's event. But I do have the YouTube Q&A pulled up also. I can see them both. So FYI, I know you're cutting and pasting to get them into the chat box, which is super cool, but I just want to let you know. All right. So this is what we're talking about. This is this battle between buyers and sellers, between supply and demand, that's creating this volatility here. And if we look at, let's just pick a level. I'll just move my mouse right here to any of these. 1, 2, from here on, 1, 2, 3, 4 candles traded up here. If I move it down here, 5 candles are trading where we're at. Things may be starting to consolidate a little bit, maybe not. But it's very interesting on how you could pick a price and you could move your crosshairs across it and say, look how many candles traded at this price. And it's usually reflected in the volume profile. The volume profile is still a little bit squarish, not really roundish yet, not really smooth yet. But we have a lot of time in the day to worry about it. Paul says L8 wave flat. A and B completed, ready for a strong C wave back up to 43.65. 43.65. Oh, that's at the highs. All right. Well, maybe we'll capture our 43.40s and we'll race back up there. You know, if you're a little bit more aggressive than I am, you'd maybe move this thing up to the 50 area. We could do that. Move it back up, you know, move our limit up. And again, whoever asked about order entry, you simply, if you want to modify your order from the actual chart, you're just going to click on the label of, you know, the graphical representation of where your trade is. You're going to click on it once, move it to the price you want, click again. That's a cancel and replace, right? Literally, we canceled the old order that was sitting at the CME book with the SOAR Live account, and we sent a new one in. So a couple things happened behind the scenes there, but if you think about it as just, yeah, hey, we moved our price. That's kind of what happened there. So there we go. CCI is fighting back 130, 139 right now. You know, we're still not to that magic minus 100 level yet. Moving average cross is slow to kind of do anything other than cause us frustration and grief. That's all right. We're gonna live through it. Paul, unfortunately, I'm not an Elliott wave aficionado. I know a lot of people are, and I know it's, you know, popular technical analysis technique, but unfortunately, I'm limited in my ability to comment. Gullimer says, if I want to buy 2 contracts using chat order, well, yeah, so you could using the chart order. So when you set up your, all right, I'll show you how to do that. So what he's saying is, hey, I want to do 2 contracts instead of 1. When I go to chart, I'm going to just put a 2 here, right? I'm going to change the order quantity to 2, and then you could hide it again or not hide it again, and it'll change it, right? You could do a 3 lot, you could do a 4 lot, whatever size you want. That's how you would do that. Roger that. I'm going to keep it at 1. We're going to keep it simple today. Well, we keep it simple every day. That's the whole idea here. I'm going to hide it. Gives me a little bit warm. You know, if you're comfortable with the actual trading ladder is awesome. You know, if you're comfortable with it, you know, you could, you know, it's easy. If you want to change an order here, you're just going to click and click to another price. Click and click to another price. You want to cancel it, you could just cancel it. If you want to change it to a 2 lot, you could change it to a 2 lot. My preference is the chart. I feel like it gives me some sort of advantage because I could really see the label really shows me where the trade ID is in relationship to everything else. So that's why I prefer it. Griffin says he traded it for a couple of years with the guy that was a master at Elliott. He was really impressive to watch. I would never draw all the lines, and I never could draw all the lines in trade. Yeah, it's definitely a discipline, right? It's a discipline you gotta focus on. Paul says Elliott wave is tough to do by itself. You need to add a second technical technique such as MACD or CCI trend. Yeah, I'm a proponent of having an oscillator on there. You know, minus 153 right now. I want that slope to kind of stay sideways. It could tick down a little bit because we do want to pick up the 43, 41s, but we don't want the slope, right? This is what I mean by the slope. Let me just kind of show you. From here to here, look how steep that is, right? That means things are moving quick and, you know, look out, you know, bombs away. Same thing if it was a slope upward. But when you're kind of sloping down slowly and kind of, you know, or sloping up slowly or sloping sideways, that's okay. That's okay for whatever you're trying to do. I'm not going to freak out about it. Yeah, so Fibonacci is amazing. It's the weirdest thing in the world because it's really not based on anything other than the golden triangle, right? The Fibonacci sequence 0, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 3, 2, 5, 2, 8, 5, 13, 8. You know, just keep adding those numbers that go in front of it all the way up, and then when you start dividing these numbers together, you're getting these. Magically, you get the 23.6, you get the 38.2, and you get the 61.8. 50% is not really a fib number, but it's a middle line that's kind of become a norm, right? Everyone throws the 50% in there as a norm. The other one is 78.6, but at that point in my mind, it's not a retracement anymore. It's a full-fledged reversal. Usually, not always, but that's kind of how I interpret it anyway. Paul's saying the next train station is 43.65. It would be on the highs of the day. Paul, that's a good question. I don't know. Paul asked a good question. And that's the beauty of having me here, is telling you, I don't know, because I don't. Any instructions on how to add the slope of the CCI is an indicator. I'm going to write that down in my notepad, and I'm going to scratch my head a little bit. I'm going to look into this a little bit after we're done today. Slope. I'm going to write it literally physically down on my notepad here. Slope of CCI, just to kind of measure it itself. I don't know. That's a good question. But the software is so powerful. I wouldn't be surprised if the answer is yes, or if there's a plugin that you could use which gives you the ability to do that. Yo, Coley asks, am I here every day? No, so we do, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we're here at this time, 10 to 11. And then we're adding a whole bunch of specialty events at noon. So I would go to, the NinjaTrader platform training page, and you'll see the schedule of events up there. Paul says he will be watching tomorrow at the same time. Awesome. Awesome news. All right, so now we're kind of moving back up here. I think they're starting to fall into a range right now. Let's take a peek at the candles a little bit more. And I just kind of moved it. I'm just going to try to make it so that we could see the candles a little bit better. There we go. All right, so we're right above yesterday's close, right? Right above yesterday's close, yesterday's low. Sellers coming in with that big wick. Let me kind of change it from crosshairs to a regular view. Big wick here, big wick here. A lot of big wicks at the top. A lot of times these big wicks get attacked, right? It makes me nervous about having my sell order where I have it, because a lot of times you see these big wicks get attacked after a while, right? 1, 2, 3 of them. So I wouldn't be surprised if we did end up closer to the top of this candle. So I'm going to move this up a little bit. I'm a little nervous about it. I want to be a little bit more patient. I think we can get a few more ticks, hopefully, maybe, out of it by moving it up above. And then it makes it easier for where we place our stop also, right? Because our stop would be above the high. And I would say 2 whole points, maybe 67-ish or something like that. Let me just show you what I mean by that. And then you could kind of manage your trade like we did the last one. Right click. I'm going to go ahead and put that stop in. And I'm safe to put it in, right? Because I can't, the market's not going to jump over my limit order, right? So if price gets up here, it means I'm short one, which would be bad if the price does get up there. Griffin had stop at 52, move to break even. He's short at 50. Okay, it's good. 3 handles in there like that. So Griffin is short right north of that 23.6 number. No, you said 50, right? My bad. Let's go down to 50. Okay, so right here. All right, so best case scenario, we get to 31 1/4, and you're good to go. Felipe from Facebook, thank you. Oh, you're welcome, Felipe. My pleasure. Appreciate you being here. It's more important than you're here than I'm just blabbing away. Thanks. Tell your friends. It's free. There's no charge. Yeah, so Toby says stop limit, buy limit, sell limit. It's kind of confusing. So, all right, let's talk about that. So right now I have 2 different types of trades on the chart, right? I have a limit order to buy a contract, right? And what I'm saying is, hey, I want to buy a contract at 43.41.25. Where's that? Yeah, 43.41.25 or better, or a better price, which would be lower, which most likely won't happen. Most likely this market is so thick with bids and offers. It's very, very thick. The bid-ask spread is one tick generally. That if the market does come down here and I'm in line, remember, behind a bunch of other orders, if it starts trading at that price at 43.41 and a quarter, then I have a chance to get filled. And then as contracts that were sent to the CME Group's Globex exchange before me gets filled, I move up closer to the beginning, the front of the line. Once I'm at the front of the line, if the market's still trading at 43.41 and a quarter, I will buy one, right? I will have my opportunity to go buy one or go long. Market can't go less than 41.25, can't go to 41 even without giving me my fill, right? So in essence, it's kind of blocking the market. If not really blocking it, but the market's going to do what it wants, but it can't give me a worse fill, right? It's a limit order by definition, my price or better. Same thing on the sell order here that I put. This is a sell order here, and it's literally, I'm saying the same thing. I want to sell one at 43.58. Or better. That's orders at the order book if this were a live account. And then a stop loss behaves a little differently, right? So I just have the simple one, and let me show you what I mean there. I have a buy stop market, not a buy stop limit. You could do either one, but the buy stop market behaves like a market order, right? So as soon as the market trades one time at 43.71 and a quarter, it's going to trigger the stop, and then it's going to buy a contract for me at whatever the best prevailing market price is. It could be, I could have slippage. It could be a tick worse. It could be at that price. It could be a tick better. It could be 2 ticks worse. It just depends. It's a market order, right? But it's pretty fast. This is a very thick market, and it's measured. And that's why another reason why you want to trade thick markets. When I mean a lot thick, I mean a lot of volume. Because then on your stop losses, it gives you, short of any electronic trading catastrophe with the exchange and that kind of thing, it's best practices, right? So we're going to end up with a position, a profit target, and a stop loss. Those are really, every trade in the world has those three things: a position, a profit target, and a stop loss. Yeah, Ashani, I am. Ashani, great comment, great question. So in this, what we're doing right now is what I'm saying is, hey, I want to, we have an area down here of what I'm going to call support, right? I think it's clearly identified right now. Will it hold up? Who knows? But buyers are coming in down in this area. And so what I want to see happen is I want to see the market try to go down again, with the idea that, hey, there's going to be buyers down here that's going to push it back up again because this is an area of support, right? Maybe I should draw my rectangle. I'm going to draw my rectangle. I know everyone's excited now. Hang on a second. Let me go over to my rectangle tool, rectangle, and I'm just going to draw a rectangle, right? And I'm going to say, hey, we haven't been able to, and the reason I'm drawing a rectangle to identify support is because of the volatility, right? Things just don't stop at a price, one single price. It can go a quarter tick below, a half a tick below, so this is an area of support, right? And, I feel pretty good about it right now because it's been established for a long period of time since we've been talking, really. And so I want to see a penetration in it again, another test into it. Again, I'm conservative. If I was more aggressive, I would move my limit order, higher up. But I want to be conservative about it. Now I want to see what happens here, and then we could put a stop in, and somewhere below that area, as the candle kind of percolates a little bit, and reveals its true intentions. Same thing on the top here. So on the sell side, I'm like, all right, listen. This is a reasonable place for, it was a reasonable place. Let's take a look and see if it still is a reasonable place to put it, to wait to see if we can get some kind of upward price momentum and sell a market up toward the higher part of the value area, which is that blue. That's that blue area right now. So, I was right above that. I'm way above the 23.6, which makes this a really conservative play. Right, but I'm going to keep it that way for now. If you really even want to be more conservative, you can go to the top of the value area, right? 62.25. Again, this is my opinion, to place that, but I don't want to be that. I don't want to be that far off. And let's see what happens here. Remember, we talked about these wicks getting attacked, right? So I want to see that wick getting this really big seller's wick get attacked here on the gravestone doji that we saw earlier today. And that's the reason for it. So again, I think we're a little bit range bound here today. We've been trading in this range for a while, right? From, I don't know, 62 down to 42, or maybe you could even say, hey, 58 down to 42, and it's reasonable to be range bound today. Let's take a look at my notes. I forgot to show you guys this. I mean, the planned economic news today is a nothing burger, right? I don't know what happened to JOLTS today, but that's usually a nothing burger also. But 6 a.m. this morning, we had the Small Business Optimist Index, and it decreased 1 point in September to 99.1. Not a big deal, but some of the key findings were interesting to me. I mean, they didn't move the market, and it's not probably going to move the market, but it increased by 5 points to 74. The uncertainty part. Owners expected better business conditions over the next 6 months, decreased 5 points to negative 33%. 51% of the owners reported job openings that could not be filled. Well, that was kind of a big number to me. I don't know that much about employment and all that stuff, but I thought that was a big number. And 48-year record high for the third consecutive month, right? So there's openings. We got to match the openings with the folks that want to work. And last week's job report showed us that a lot of people have withdrawn from the workforce, right? And we only had that 100 and I don't know, was it 50,000 instead of the the consensus 500,000 or 480,000 non-farm payroll number last week. And that, part of the story, though, when you read behind the scenes is, the unemployment rate went down, but a lot of people withdrew from the workforce. And that's reflected here in this statistic as well. That 42% of owners reported raising compensation. So the companies are trying, right? They're trying. It's like, hey, we want to offer you more money to come work here. So that's kind of what's going on right now. But again, I don't know that it moved the needle that much today. Maybe reinforce some ideas that, hey, we have to get this labor force fully funded here to get rolling again. And then yesterday was Columbus Day. Treasury cash markets were closed. That always makes it for a weird day. That's what I was talking about earlier. Keep that in mind. When these events happen, these are things we know about ahead of time. These are things we know about ahead of time. These are earnings. This is old. I didn't update this. Didn't have time. My bad. So forget about the earnings. Taper tantrum. I mean, this is still a thing, right? The Fed's tapering. I think the consensus is we're going to get to about $9 trillion on the Fed balance sheet. If you can go to the St. Louis Fed's website, let's see what's happening here. Am I missing anything? No. You can go to the St. Louis Fed's website and see all a bunch of charts and stuff like that about Fed's balance sheet. It's pretty interesting. But the idea is, hey, maybe we're going to peak out around 9 trillion. And keep in mind, tapering just means the Fed's going to slow down the rate at which it acquires assets, right? And the idea is once you slow down enough, then the assets that have already been acquired are going to start to mature and disappear from the books. Money's going to vanish. That's kind of the idea. So again, to taper or not to taper isn't the question. Is what degree when will it start, and what degree to which it will happen, right? What is it? We're doing 180 to 250 billion, at a clip up to 9 trillion, huge number. Anyway, in any event, I'm totally sidetracked. Glenn says you should have a plan. Glenn, I'm sorry, I missed that. How do you set up a trailing stop? Well, so the way you would do it is through the ATM strategies, right? You would customize an ATM strategy here to do that. I don't have time to show you how to do it right now. It's 10:42. But I would log into sim mode and practice with the ATM strategy window. This does an awful lot of stuff, right? You could add a stop strategy here, which includes trailing stops, a simple bracket, multi-target bracket. I know it doesn't look like a lot, but believe me, there's a lot of stuff you could do here. So I would kind of, if this ATM kind of strategy, you want to automate your stop, then you could do it through that process. Alternatively, as we do often, is we just kind of manually kind of trail it, right, and kind of trail it physically. And I like to be engaged. I like to stay engaged, for sure. And I think that's part of my engagement process is literally, having my mouse right here ready to go. I'm missing a lot of stuff. There's running two chat question and answer boxes is a little weird, but Glenn says you should have a plan. I agree with that. Griffin says, all I ever look for is a place I could manage risk and try to be with the short-term trend. Other than that, I can get in any place. So Zayden, let's talk about this. Zayden is bearish until October 18th. Why October 18th? Is that when that option expires that you're mentioning? And if I missed it in the chat, I apologize for asking again. Right, it says sell NQ. Take a look at the NQ chart. We see a real similar pattern here on the NQ. It is looking, CCI is kind of sloping upward. Moving average cross is still converging. So these two signals are a little bit in contradiction to themselves. But again, I'm going to draw my rectangle. When all else fails, I draw my rectangle. Say, listen, we haven't had a candle close in this box 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times in a row. What makes you think we're going to close in this rectangle now? What's different than was different 10 minutes ago or 10 minutes before that? So my opinion on this is you're very possibly correct, Ryad, that you should sell NQ. Although I want to wait for confirmation. I want to see a close in this box. I want to see a candle that closes in my box before I'm all excited about it. You know what I mean? So again, confirmation. CCI now is sloping up some more, 127, minus 127. No, I understand, Zayden. Zayden's saying, I am looking at the market cycle, and I don't think we have seen a strong trend reversal. That very well could be true. I'd have to think about that a little bit. But again, it's October, when you put a date out there, October 18th, usually, it's because of something. There's going to be a reason why. I don't know, an election or a Fed meeting or some sort of Elliott wave cycle or something. Yeah, the VWAPs, we do use the VWAPs sometimes in here, right? We're not using them today. At this point in the day, we don't have time because we're going to have to wrap this up. Closer to 11 today. We're not going to be able to go overtime today. I've got the next thing I've got to do. So let's keep an eye on this. I'll toggle back here and we'll see if we can actually get a close in that rectangle here before we jump into action. But I do like a lower high. That's all good stuff. But again, I want to see some penetration down in this rectangle. And right now we have an inside bar brewing. It's as simple as that. So I'm not going to jump on that. And remember also, my time frame might be different than yours, right? My time frame is, hour or less. I see. Okay. So Griffin, thank you, Griffin. Griffin says, that October 18th is associated with the, the option expiring on August 21st. That could be true. But then you had to do the LOL, which always confuses me. The VWAP is, again, it's on the order flow. You're going to click here. You're going to go to indicators. And then you're going to go down to order flow. VWAP right there. You'll add it to the chart, configure it, and then you'll be good to go. I mean, I could do it here. It's going to mess up. It's going to muck up my symmetry, but I'm going to do it just to show you how to do it. Apply it, okay? And now we added the VWAP to this thing. And what happens is it makes it harder to see from a presentation point of view. We're right up against the first standard deviation on the NASDAQ. So again, I'm not going to be selling NASDAQ right now. I'm going to shoot over to ES and see what's going on over here. Oops, it applied it here too. Shoot, okay. We're above the VWAP right now. You know, we're kissing it. We're not going to do it. Next time I'll add this as a separate chart so we could kind of see it a little bit better and kind of consider what it's telling us. But right now it's freaking me out because there's too many lines on here. So I'm going to remove it. Higher high, higher high, higher high. So this is kind of on the move again. The last thing I want to throw out here, it's 10, not the last thing, but it's 10:47. So as we get to 10 o'clock, I do think there's a time frame consideration, right? So we have pre-market, you know, in my mind, pre-market 7 o'clock Chicago time to 8:30. Then we have the open 8:30 to 9. Then we kind of have the post-open 9 to 10, which is the period we're in right now. Then after that, we kind of enter into, you know, it's 11 o'clock New York time at that point. We kind of enter into the lunchtime phase here, where I think the market behaves differently, different market participants involved. And then we have the close. So those are discrete, you know, 4 discrete time frames where I would expect market to behave a little differently. Zayden has been lucky with puts in October. Love to hear that. All right, Paul, you're like jumping the shark right now. I'm going to read your comment out loud, but I'm going to tell you, first of all, you're jumping the shark. I don't know if you're old enough to remember Happy Days. Conspiracy theorists think October 18th is an important date for behind the scenes government finances. Takes all kinds. All right. So again, this area of support held, man. It held again. It held again. Rectangles work. Let's move over to the NASI, see what's going on. NASI's a little less clear cut here. We're still kissing against that bottom here. But again, another, you know, an inside bar here. And what time is it? We got another minute. Let's see what happens to this, let's see what happens to this, to the next candle. And I'll give you some thoughts on, you know, course of action and the NASI. So Felipe, I could only comment as to the platform. You know, I've used in my, I don't know, I've been involved somehow, some way in this for, I don't know, late 90s really, but I've used so many different trading platforms. And I think this is the best one I've used. I mean, I've used everything from Strategy Runner to JTrader to Ran Order to the AT Pro to you name it. I've used it, and this one by far, in my opinion, is the best. And I've just really been an aficionado lately, right? Last year or so. All right, new candle here. Another inside bar. So what do you do with an inside bar? Well, you know, you could look for a break. You could look for a breakout, right? So sell below the low of the previous bar, or buy below the high of the previous bar, and that would be a breakout idea, which is what we just saw right now. And you saw the point of control just shift, right? We just shifted down here. And again, I'm not that excited until, in fact, we see a close in my rectangle, right? Penetration in the rectangle is expected. Close in the rectangle is telling me that the whole level of support has shifted downward. Martin, I'm not sure. First of all, Martin, let me tell you this, Martin Johansson, and I greatly appreciate you being here and listening and participating. That's awesome. Martin says the Swedish market is up 2% since pre-market, but I think you Americans will crash it. Bear for tonight. I hope we don't, if you want to be long. I only hope we crash it if you want to be short, Martin. But thanks for that comment. That's awesome. So Shingami is making a comment about market depth. So what I'm going to say about market depth, you're probably not going to want to hear, but I'm going to say it anyway. These numbers here, they're dynamic, right? You can see the bids and offers move around a lot. And it looks good on the screen. But is it really important that that's 109 up here on the offer in this particular market? Is it really important that 47.25 is 142? Or is it really important? At what point, how far up or how far down could you get some tradable information on a market like this? And for me, it's been, and maybe you can, but for me, it's been a mystery, right? A mystery. I'm unable to do it. One thing that I do like to do though is I haven't done it right now, but if you wanted to add volume to the actual kind of a tick by tick volume profile, if you will, on the side of the trading ladder, we'll just kind of let the data catch up with itself here for a second. It will pop in here soon, and then you can do that, and that helps me more than the bids and offers in an offer column. And the more data you come streaming into your platform, the slower your computer is going to run. So it's another thing to think about. But again, I'm not a fan of that data. I think it moves too fast. There's too many cancel replaces. There's too many orders coming in and out. It's too dynamic for me to figure out what the heck's going on. So again, maybe that's me, but that's just how I feel about it. All right. Willie asks, can you explain the rev flat in close? Oh, you mean on if you want to just close the position, click on this, it just will close your position at the market and cancel all your orders, right? Reverse, it's going to reverse your position. So if I had a position, which I don't, instead of being, if I was long one as an example, I click on reverse, then it'll sell to at the market and I'll be short two. I am not a fan of the reverse button, because a lot of times the reverse button means you don't have a plan, and then you're reacting. You have this thing called FOMO, fear of missing out. You're thinking, oh no, I'm wrong. I should be selling instead of buying, and you reverse instead of trading a plan. I'm not a fan of it. I'm not, but it's there for your convenience if you want to use it. All right, so I'm going to pull this out of the way here so we can kind of take a little peek here. Again, right in that range right here, we're going to make another stab down here into my rectangle. It is 10:55. We're kind of in the danger zone right now because at 10, I really don't want. I want to reassess everything at 11 o'clock, right, in 5 minutes. But we'll see if we can get any momentum or any velocity on the downside to pick us up a position. Stop losses are best practices. End of story. As a matter of fact, I should have one in right now. End of story. In my, I don't know, when did I start? 1981. I've seen more traders end their careers or blow out their accounts simply because they didn't put a stop loss in than any other single thing I could think of. Best practices, have it in. End of story. We're talking 40 years of story. All right, so Jay, when you want to put a stop loss in on your Superdome, let me show you how to do it. I'm just going to go ahead and let's say that we have a limit order up here. I'm just going to use, so this would be sell, so I want to have a buy stop. I'm going to use the roller of the middle mouse button, the roller. I'm going to click, I'm going to add it, and I'm going to hit the checkbox, and I did it. That's the only time you're going to use the time when you're going to use the middle mouse roller to do that. Show you again. Middle, you pick your price, middle, hit the checkbox. You're good to go. Yeah, so Edward, good call. Yeah, I hear you, man. And tomorrow we'll talk about that, Edward. In the micro ES, micro NQ is a great market, but it moves quickly and it's very volatile, and it's thinner than this market, so you got to be careful. So literally, I'll talk about that tomorrow. We'll get into it. We're almost out of time here. I do have another engagement, so I just want to peek at the last candle here. NQ, we're finally in there. Let's see if we close there. It looks like we might close there. I don't know. It's too early to tell. But so what I would do once we close here, I would shift this rectangle down to the bottom of whatever candle it is. But we'll just wait. Let's wait 2 more minutes before we do anything on the NQ. Yes, it's still kind of just hanging out. 38.2% is right smack dab at yesterday's close. It's amazing how this market works like that, how the Fibonacci works like that. You know, Carlos, I'm going to use that analogy. That's a great analogy. He says, attempting to master. Now, this will probably only resonate with the U.S. folks in the room. We know we have folks from Sweden and other places here today, which is awesome. Attempting to master my day trading skills, like practicing my baseball bat swing. They dwell in our subconscious. Yeah, and, I refer to it as muscle memory, right? You have a lot of muscle memory, like just kind of it's a subconscious thing. Oh, I've seen this happen before. Therefore, I'm going to do this. Therefore, I'm going to do that. For sure, 100%. That's a great comment. Adrian, yeah, go to ninjatrader.com, scroll all the way to the bottom of the webpage, and there's a little icon there for the NinjaTrader YouTube channel. Feel free to get out there. So Willie says, I always use a stop loss. That's awesome. I use a risk of 2 to 1 myself. That's not so awesome. I'll tell you why. I understand you want the risk reward ratio to be in your favor, and that's kind of an instinctive thing people want to do. But let me just throw this out at you. Sometimes that 2 to 1 risk ratio from where your profit target is versus your loss, if that's what you're referring to, isn't based in science. It isn't based on the candle. It isn't based on the support and resistance, right? So in my world, and my idea really is a little bit different. It's, hey, use the candles, use volume profile, use whatever setup types of information you use to create your position, and then figure out where the stop loss goes in the profit target. And sometimes that might be different, right? Your stop loss might be bigger than your profit target. But if you think about what's reasonable, what's the likelihood of X, Y, and Z happening, then you could create a different ratio for yourself. And I don't know. That's just my philosophy, of course. All right. Okay, so we're going to wrap it up. It's 11 o'clock right now. And literally what I'm going to do here is now we're going to get that trade maybe, but I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to cancel this whole thing out. I'm going to close everything up. And I'm going to wait for the 10 o'clock candle. I'm going to reassess. I have to go, so I can't watch this thing. Oops. Let's just go over the NASI one last time to see how it goes. I do want to remind everybody here, don't forget. Yeah, so this was interesting. Real quickly before we go, we did have a candle closing here at the bottom of my rectangle. Remember, support and resistance. I was saying this is the area of support. We did close down here, which means now I've got to bring this down. But as soon as we hit to the bottom of my rectangle, we rallied back up. So be careful of these false breakouts is all I'm saying. Just be really careful about that. I do want to remind everybody, trading futures, option on futures involves substantial risk of loss, not suitable for all traders and investors. Oftentimes in futures trading, you have a high combination of leverage and volatility, although that could be an equation for opportunity, which is why we're all here. It's also an equation for risk. So be careful. Only fund your futures trading account with risk capital. Just be careful with that. Easy on the day trade margins and all that stuff. We will be popping back into here tomorrow. Same time. The link should be the same, I think, is my guess. And then later on in the day, we're going to do oh, wait, today, what is today? Today's Tuesday. Today's it for today. So tomorrow it'll be different. Tomorrow there'll be a couple of things going on here. Let me just tell you what those are going to be. So let me just pull this over here so you can see it real fast. Tomorrow is Wednesday. We're going to do the trade setups again. Then we're going to do top 5 indicators. I'll go into detail on the indicators and how I look at them and what I think about them. And there's these other events here to check out as we go forward throughout the week. All right, I'm going to let everybody go. Thanks again. I appreciate all the kind comments. Hopefully see you guys tomorrow. And remember, be safe out there and be good to each other. Take care.